Before Main Street Singers came to Los Altos High School, I was at Monte Vista High School. I did my student teaching there, and I did some other teaching there in the ensuing 2 years. I knew what kind of group I wanted when I had my own situation as a teacher, and I came to Los Altos High School, adopted a group that pre-existed, and taught them for a year, and then changed the ensemble into what it became today at Main Street Singers. When I thought of what I would like to create at Los Altos High School, that would be an ensemble that would reward students for their hard work and achievement, have opportunities to expand their sense of the world and the cultures of the world, I thought of a group like Main Street Singers that would travel, that would be involved in repertoire of various backgrounds, and I think that's what we have achieved. After 31 years of travel around the globe. There are so many qualities of a Main Street Singer that need to coexist for the betterment of the individual as well as the group. I think that the desire to become better, the passion for the individual to want to learn many things, learn better skills, better music reading skills, better vocal skills, better group ensemble work. All of these things are important, but the most important is commitment. Commitment to becoming a Main Street Singer and all that goes with it.
I think the main thing it takes to become a Main Street Singer is dedication. You have to have dedication to singing, you have to have dedication to the group, you have to have dedication to shawl, you have to have dedication to yourself and improving.
The most difficult thing about being in Main Street is probably the repetitiveness, and not that we're doing the same thing, but that we're going over the same songs, trying to perfect it. And even though you're trying to get towards a different goal each time, it can get a bit tiresome once it's like the 5th time you're going over the same part, but it definitely pays off.
So at rehearsal, a lot of what we do is we sight read, we do, a lot of perfecting of the things, of the songs that we've previously rehearsed. And I think that one of the toughest things, one of the things that he really holds to a high standard is making sure that everything is perfect and making sure that you have that perfectness constantly and consistently. And I think that one of the hardest things to do is to focus on that while maintaining all the other aspects of it. So there's quite a few elements that you must juggle in order to be up to his standards. I feel like this year has taught me a lot about, again, the dedication necessary to get something done. I've never taken on a task this big before, and I knew how much work you needed to really succeed, but I didn't know what accomplishing that kind of work felt like.
You can definitely see the transition between the first time you get a piece of music until you're performing it, and that's really rewarding and an exciting feeling to know that you achieved something.
Through all the work and all the hours put into it, I got to a point where now, I'm sitting in concert choir, the lower level choirs, sight reading music and helping other people, and that is something that I never thought I would be able to do. And so I'm glad that I learned how to be dedicated in that way and how to, and all the results that came with it, all my musical improvement and my sight reading and just vocally how much I've changed.
The most difficult part about being a Main Street Singer probably has to be just how much time we spend at rehearsals, because come March season or December season, it's non-stop with how many rehearsals we have.
So March Madness is the month leading up to April, where we leave for tour, and we have several rehearsals a week, including Saturday rehearsals, which start with a countdown breakfast, and that's basically we go to someone's home and they have breakfast for us and we eat and we socialize before we go on to a 6-hour rehearsal.
Sometimes you show up from a pretty late night the day before, and it's like you have to be at the school for 5:30 to make pizza, or you have to be at the school at or you have to be at someone's house at 9 a.m. to have breakfast and then sing for 8 hours. And that can really kind of destroy you, like physically and mentally.
But you also see how each detail impacts the whole, and it's really fulfilling seeing the lead up to tour during March Madness.
My idea of touring, well, for the last 31 years, Main Street Singers have gone on an international concert tour each year, each of those years. That's a huge achievement, and I mean that by virtue of all the individuals ever involved in the ensemble, whether it's the students, the parents, the many people involved in the background of what it means to pull off a big concert tour. What do I think of the goal orientation of a tour? I think it's super important. I think it's not simply a carrot out there that people want so badly they'll work hard. It's opportunities to learn about different cultures, to live through other styles of other lifestyles, and to understand people from many backgrounds.
So tour is about 2.5 weeks that we spend usually over spring break and then going on into a bit of the school year. And we go to different locations each year. This year we're going to South Africa. But the purpose of tour is to really immerse yourself in the music and then also in the culture of the country you're visiting. And it really gives you an opportunity to share your talents and your music with people who you wouldn't meet regularly.
A normal day on tour is I always explain the following way. If we're not singing, we're sightseeing. If we're not sightseeing, we're eating. If we're not eating, we're sleeping. And I think that's probably a pretty good priority level, because after all, we're on a concert tour. Our main objective is making music, sharing music.
Oh boy.
Here he comes.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, face this way.
It's an impact, but it's not.
So Main Street Singers is pretty well known as a group. I know that our tour guide, Mike Smuts, shout out to Mike Smuts, he doesn't usually go around giving tours to people, but he specifically, when we asked him, like, oh, do you do this a lot? He goes, oh yeah, not usually, but this is an important group for me. And we were like, we're just a group from Los Altos, we don't get it, why? But apparently it's, we're well known and our music is something that's, globally appreciated.
We would visit these grand cathedrals. Mr. Shaw would ask if we could perform 1 or 2 songs, and usually these are places where you're not really allowed to speak much, but Mr. Shaw has his ways, and you get to perform in these places with just random people. They don't even know you're going to sing. All of a sudden you're singing and everyone's completely silent, just looking at you, and it's really great. People appreciate songs and music even when they weren't expecting it. So I like it a lot. I think those are some of my favorite performances, just kind of catching people off guard.
So, you know, you go sing at concerts with other people and you get to hear yourself and compare yourself to other choirs. My favorite musical part of tour was definitely being able to sing with a lot of the audience members. I know that the first night, what we did is we went to a restaurant and we ended up that night singing for them, and they loved it so much that they felt obliged to sing back for us. And so then we ended up singing together, and there was like ululating, which is the high pitched like ay kind of a thing. And you know, we were dancing and they were dancing, and I've never felt such like a kinship before, like through music, because that's not something you do in America. You don't like sing for, you know, your restaurant, and they don't sing for you ever. And it was just, you know, incredible having them, you know, appreciate the music so much and at such a deep level.
It has been described as a life-changing experience, and for me personally, I wouldn't describe it as necessarily life-changing, but it's definitely not something anyone can forget, and it impacts your life, definitely. So a tour's a really great experience.
You get to have this incredible interaction where I literally learned the meaning of music, and it was, you know, just this pinnacle moment in my choir experience, and it just, you know, it was the peak of Main Street.